We are here to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 here in the news. If you did not know, if you were living under a rock, new Nintendo console coming out later this year. They finally did their Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Nintendo pulled back the curtain on all the details about their new console. So let's get right into it. But before we get into any specifics or anything, I do want to quickly mention, if you haven't seen our reactions to the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, you can head on over right now to our YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube after this podcast, go on over there. We did a live reaction to the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. It was a whole lot of fun. I had lots of people in the chat. It was great. But before we get into the nitty gritty, I want to ask the two of you general thoughts. How are we feeling? What's the vibe check coming out of this Nintendo Switch 2 Direct? Lauren, I think we'll go to you first. What did you think now, having kind of seen everything?
It was nice to finally know what we're getting instead of guessing all the time and like leaning into all the leaks and things like that. I think out of the three of us, I'm going to predict that I'm probably I'm the most whelmed. Like, this wasn't really what I was hoping for because it just didn't make me go by the end, I'm buying this day one, which is obviously what I'm sure Nintendo was hoping for from most people. But it was good to know now what we're getting, and I was impressed by several things, but there was nothing there that was just like, oh, I absolutely have to have this. And that's perhaps not too surprising. I did wait quite a while for the original Switch. The Nintendo family of games hasn't always been like my cup of tea. But there was a couple there that I was sort of like, if you give me this, I'm going to be there. And they kind of didn't. So at this stage, I'm kind of just a little bit like, oh, well, I guess that happened and you all go have fun.
You will be a whole lot heavier in the wallet because of it.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I did see you buy Lady Gaga tickets the other day, so...
Well, I had to choose, and I guess Lady Gaga won.
Mario, Lady Gaga, I don't know. Which one should we do? Tom, we'll go to you next. What do you think about the Switch 2 Direct here?
Yeah, I mean, I came off of it kind of almost conflicted because I think overall it was a pretty good showcase of what I wanted and what I kind of was hoping for out of the thing, like seeing the specs, seeing a lot of the games that I wanted, and some games that I didn't even know that they were going to do, like a new like Zelda Hyrule Warriors-esque game with like an Age of Calamity sequel. But then they do end on Donkey Kong, which I was excited about, but also I think like many people were hoping for like a 3D Mario. But after all of that, and then diving a bit deeper into some of the other things like Donkey Kong Bonanza and seeing like what that game actually has to offer and hearing the hands-on previews, it made me even more excited for it. And like, I think I think it works because I have pre-ordered the Switch 2. So they pretty much delivered on almost everything. I think there are some things that I wish the Direct had addressed, and maybe one or two things they could have included that would have even sweetened the deal even more just for me. But yeah, I think overall for the Direct side of it, I am pretty pleased with how it turned out. Having said, like I said, looking at all the news, the previews and stuff afterwards got me really excited, but there's also a lot of things that didn't fill me with a lot of joy, which we'll talk about soon. The big one being, the prices of certain things, but I think we'll talk about that a bit more because that's a whole topic in and of itself. But I think overall with the Switch 2 reveal, I mean, like I said, I pre-ordered the thing. Like, it was enough to convince me. So I was pretty pleased with it as a whole.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you, Tom. I was maybe the highest of the three of us coming out of the Direct. I was so amped on that reaction stream. Everything they told me got me more and more excited. I thought we would get one or two of the things that we got when it comes to the tech, when it comes to the games, and they just kept doing things. I put up a clip over on social media, over on my Blue Sky. I genuinely did not think we would ever get the GameCube games on NSO, and we're getting that. And like, it seems kind of wild for that to be a selling feature for me on the Switch 2, but it is. Like, I will be pre-ordering this thing so I can play GameCube games on my TV again and be a part of this ecosystem. But as time has gone on, I have kind of like, my excitement is still there. I'm still like a kid on Christmas morning waiting to open my present. I'm very excited. But there have been a few things that it's like, like that kind of hurts, or like, oh my gosh, like I don't 100% know about that. But then I go and I watch the Nintendo Treehouse that was happening this week, or I see some preview from people who were at the event and got to play it, and I'm like, yeah, but Metroid looks really good, and like, oh my god, like, but Donkey Kong looks incredible. So I am kind of like of two minds. It's like I'm really excited, but it's gonna cost me a lot of money for that excitement, and that doesn't excite me as much. But
Yeah.
I think we should get into like the nitty gritty of it all and go by detail by detail. Let's just start things off with kind of the technical side of things, not the games, the hardware itself, what they showed off. It is releasing Nintendo Switch 2 on June 5th, which is the Friday before Summer Games Fest starts. Very, very busy time in the gaming industry. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how everyone handles that. It will be $449.99 US and $499.99 US for the Mario Kart bundle. It's varying prices everywhere. It seems that US price is a little bit higher than maybe people had thought, and they have made... Lauren?
Well, we don't actually know if that's the final price. because-
Exactly. I was about to get there. Mere days after they announced the price for the US, they have the latest round of tariffs have officially come in. There were some surprise tariffs for, I think it's Vietnam is the territory in particular that has been a bit of an issue, because Nintendo has very recently, in the last year or so, moved a lot of its manufacturing to Vietnam, and they weren't expecting tariffs to be as heavy as they were there, and they have actually pulled back pre-order dates for the US. We have no idea what's going to happen. They are reevaluating the current marketplace, but everywhere else in the world is also dealing with elevated prices because of the uncertainty in the US. I think that they've kind of like raised the bar a little bit everywhere so that they weren't charging $800 for a Nintendo Switch 2 in the American market, the whiniest, biggest market in the world. It is, I think, the Nintendo or the Mario Kart bundle in Canada is $699.99, and that's gonna hurt, but I will be hitting the purchase button. They did debut some very, like, I think, exciting technical details. I didn't think we would be getting all of these, but the fact that we are is very exciting. It's going to have HDR in this thing, not an OLED screen. However, I've seen some people shooting the screen with HDR cameras, and it looks incredible. Like, it's the colors are so bright. It is this is going to feel like jumping into the future from my year one Switch 1. It's going to have 4K 60 frames per second docked gameplay, as well as 1080p 120 frames per second docked and portable. That's crazy. I cannot believe Nintendo got out there and was talking about frames per second. I never thought we would ever see the day, and if we did, I thought they would give it some like weird Nintendo fun name. Like, it'd be like, it's not 120 frames per second, it's like it's Nintendo View or whatever. And then they also showed off some of the mouse functionality that you can do with this thing. You can do I'm grabbing my mouse. You can play Metroid Prime in first person, like a first person shooter. Very cool stuff that people were talking about out of the previews. You can be playing, holding in your hand, and you just put it down on the table and it instantly goes to mouse mode. And then you pick it up and it instantly comes back to controller. So cool. And then they debuted Game Chat. Nintendo discovered Zoom over the pandemic, and they baked it into the Nintendo Switch. They're selling a camera for this thing. It's going to be $50. Hori, which is a like accessory manufacturer, third-party manufacturer, has already put out that they're making a camera as well that looks like the Piranha Plant that will be cheaper than Nintendo camera, and Hori makes pretty good accessories, and you can plug in any USB camera into this thing, so you don't necessarily have to use the Nintendo solution if you don't want to. But they basically put Discord into the console. That's what the mysterious C button was. It's a chat button, so you can open it up. Me, Laura, and Tom can all be talking to each other just like we're doing here, but on our Nintendo Switch. And we can also, in very, very, maybe 10 frames per second fashion, show off our gameplay behind us while we're talking and each hang out and play different games. So they discovered that people actually want to talk to each other online over the last couple of years. I think we'll stop here with the details. You guys can kind of grab onto any one of these: the price, the release date, game chat, mouse functionality. Where do we want to go? Lauren, I know you've had some opinions about the price, so like take it away if that's where you want to go.
I mean, sure, we can get the negative out of the way. The price is obscene. There's no other way to say it. In Australia, it costs $700. That's as much as I paid for my PlayStation 5. And I'm not saying that like the Switch 2 and PS5 like aren't comparable. It's just that the Switch has always been so much more affordable and its price has always been so much more accessible to people, particularly families. Like forking out $700 on a console you're going to hand to your kid who might throw it and break it in half an hour, I'd be super concerned. So I just think like there was just so much about this that rubbed me the wrong way, because I feel like there are parts of Nintendo that have seemed a little bit gimmicky, but I've never felt that they were unfair with pricing so much, so to speak. Like they have always, like there's very rarely like game sales on games, they've always sort of stuck to that price, but and they never dropped the price of the console, I think, except maybe after the OLED released, or maybe they still didn't even then. But this did feel a little bit like we're cashing in. It's a cash grab. Which was a shame. And like, I can't say what's going on in their business side. Obviously, some of these specs are probably quite expensive to produce, so therefore like the parts are more expensive and the price has to rise. But it's still not like at a PS5 level of technical hardware. So like, if I'm picking something to play, like on which console is going to look better, like why wouldn't I just play Elden Ring on my PS5 instead of like, oh, it's cool that it can be played on the Switch too now, but it's going to look so much better on my PS5 natively. So the price is just really, like, it was a deal breaker, unfortunately. If this had come out even at a closer price to what the OLED was, I would probably be going, yeah, I'll do it. But it's just, like, the barrier to entry is getting so high now, and I'm just like, I'm not here for that, man. Like, let's just get it together.
I think that Nintendo too has the detriment of having to reveal all of this information right in this kind of very, very uncertain financial moment. I wouldn't be surprised if in a month, 2 months, Xbox and PlayStation do a very similar thing with the consoles that they have out on the marketplace right now and have to bump the price up as well. And so, and then we'll be able to look at it and go, oh, okay, comparably, this is kind of where we're at pricing. It's just like right now, the international financial situation is so uncertain. I do think there is a bit of what you're talking about here, Lauren. It like Nintendo is riding really high. They are feeling really good coming off the Switch generation. They revitalized their business. It's the biggest generation they've ever had, and people are going to pay the money. It does feel PlayStation in the PS3 era a little bit. Like people will get a second job to buy this machine, but it is very, very difficult looking at the $80 games as well that will be in the States, and it'll be more expensive everywhere else. It's hard to look at them right now and go like, is this 100% because you guys want to cash in? Are there other factors at play? I think it is a bit of a mix of both, but Tom, price, you're paying it, so.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it. So, yeah, I think it is definitely expensive, but I don't know if it was, for me, unexpected for all the factors we kind of talked about. Like, the Switch one was ludicrously, like, successful. I fully expected Nintendo to look at that and be like, well, people like the Switch, we're just going to charge more for it. And I'm not saying that's the right decision, but it made sense in my head that they would do that, and they did. And I think having seen some of the tech, like some of the previews and stuff, I kind of understand how they might have got close to that price, because it doesn't look as good as like a PS5, but it does look damn impressive. Like I was kind of shocked how, like I was watching Street Fighter gameplay and it just looked like if you put them side by side, you can tell the difference, but it looked damn near close. So I think there is an argument to be made that the console itself also seems to be quite and I haven't held it in my hands or anything, but it does seem to be of good build quality. So I think the price of the console for me, I thought made sense. But the games, oh boy, that is another completely different conversation. $80 for a physical game is ludicrous. Like even $70, like when we had that kind of price bump was crazy, but getting to 80 now is
Tears of the Kingdom was the first Nintendo game to be $70. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, and like the fact that we're already jumping to 80, I think feels like a stretch. I will say that at least from what I've seen in the UK, well, the UK's in Europe as well, but Europe as a whole, retailers seem to do a good job of not always charging MSRP or RRP. They do a good job of like trying to be as competitive as possible. So if you are diligent and don't just pull the trigger, you can get physical games for cheaper than those higher prices. So if you are a European listener listening, I would say try to find the best deal you can, because it is possible. But I don't think that's the case everywhere else. And $80 is what I think what put it into perspective for me is that like that's a fifth of the console's was a fifth of the console's price before they pulled back in the US, which it shouldn't be that way. It really shouldn't, and it does make me worried. Not even just for Nintendo, but the industry as a whole, because now everyone's like $100 for GTA 6, which at this point
I think that's happening now.
Yeah,
it definitely will happen, and people will buy it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, I bought into it. Like, am I part of the problem? Probably. I bought the Mario Kart bundle, so I'm getting the game bundled in. But yeah, it's tough.
You're saving money.
I
think it's like
money.
a $30 US savings if you get the Mario Kart bundle. So do that.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get the game anyways, try and get one of those.
Exactly.
I think the thing that really, really rubbed me the wrong way about this part of it was that they touted this. I can't remember what it's called, but there's like a training game for Nintendo Switch 2 where you get to like check out all the Switch's
Welcome Tour.
Welcome Tour, great. So you get to check out all the functionality of the new Switch. It's a really cool way to get to know your new console, and they're charging for it. I'm like, are you joking? That's the part where I was like, okay, now you guys are looking for money, because Astro's Playroom came for free on the PS5. It's a wonderful game in its own right. It came completely free, and that was just like something, so you open your console and you have something to play. I'm shocked that Nintendo is not doing the same thing. And there's part of me that's like, of course, it's a Nintendo thing to do, but I'm just like, come on, guys. You're already asking people to pay this much money, to pay all this money for these new games, and you're going to charge for like a welcome package. It's just like, keeps piling up.
Have you seen some of the games that is in this thing? It's so
I've heard
funny.
that they're pretty good. Yeah.
So they have like guess the frame rate, and it's like a basketball moving at like 30 frames per second, and then it shows you when it's 60, and it's like which one's 60 frames per second. Or they do a cool thing with like showing off what like 4K is by like showing, here's what the original first level of Mario looked like with the amount of pixels that were in it. Here's what that would look like if we made it in 4K, and it just expands. You see the whole level on screen all at once because that's how many pixels are on the screen. It does seem very silly. It seems very tech demo-y. I think that's what it is. From what I've heard, this game is not being developed by developers. It was the actual hardware team that was making tech demos for this, and they were using internally, that they've packaged. Pricing hasn't been announced yet, but it has shown up on the Japanese eShop or a Japanese retailer for what would be the equivalent of $6.60 American. And at that point, it's like, what are we doing? Why are we charging for it at all? And Nintendo isn't completely a stranger to doing pack-ins. The Wii Sports, the best-selling game of all time, the literal thesis statement for the Nintendo Wii. Super Mario World was a pack-in on the Super Nintendo, which is one of the best games of all time. So I'm with you, Lauren. I'm surprised that this game is not being packed in, and I think that you can see on the reaction stream when they announced this game, we're all sitting there going, okay, it's cool. Like, we are seeing that you are kind of giving us a look under the hood at what went into these decisions, how they can be used, and then it was like, for an additional cost, and we all went, oh, why? What are we doing here?
Yeah, it's a shame because and with the Wii Sports thing, that was like historically a very difficult thing for Nintendo of America to convince Nintendo of Japan.
Yeah, it was Reggie, I think, right, who
Yeah.
convinced them to like, we have to do this.
Yeah, because I think Nintendo of Japan wants to charge for it because they're like, we've put the work into it, we should charge for it. But on the flip side, it's like if it's like $5 or $6, like you might as well just put it in the box. But yeah, it's very silly. I think at this point, if you're interested in this game, probably just watch someone else play it on YouTube, because you'll probably get the similar experience.
From this kind of technical side of things, is there anything else you guys want to touch on? Mouse functionality, game chat, 4K, 60 frames per second. Lauren, anything from here that stood out to you?
Genuinely, I think the 4K, that is something I wanted out of the Switch 2, so that's like a box checked for me. And the frame rate, very impressive. So those are all things, and HDR, those are all things that I'm leaning towards, like, I look forward to that. And game chat, nice to have. Glad that you've done that, Nintendo, but that's not like reinventing the wheel. And that, I think, is my whole thing about this. Mouse functionality is probably the closest thing that they've got to being super innovative, which I think is very cool, and I look forward to that eventually, particularly for games like Metroid, where it is like kind of cool to be playing in first-person shooter mode. Very cool. But I guess it just isn't, it's just not a reinvention of the wheel that I think would justify a price like this. Like if this was not the Nintendo Switch, it was something else. It was like the Nintendo, whatever they call their next console. And it was all this and maybe something new, maybe the format changes, the design changes. I don't know what it is. I think I would be feeling a little better about this, but it's not, and I get it. Like the PS5 is kind of in a lot of ways similar to the PS4, as is the Xbox X, Series X to the 360 and things like that. So I think I was just like hoping for more. I think the thing that's really been the biggest disappointment to me, and we have talked about how the LCD screen is great, they talked about why they did it, but as someone who has an OLED Switch, I think moving to the Switch 2 in a lot of ways is going to feel like a downgrade, because the OLED screen is just so good. And I think that paired with all of these like great technical specs would just be like another level, and that would probably really might have pushed me over the line to be like, yeah, I'm going to pre-order this instantly, because it's going to feel like a smooth transition from my Switch to this one. But I can totally see where, like, from you guys' point of view, you've had it since the first day. The Switches are getting old. It's the same with the first PS4s. It'll be the same with our first PS5s. Like, I can see jumping up to this is going to be a huge upgrade. But as someone who came in midway through the generation and has the latest Switch, I'm sort of just like, well, I'm just happy to run with that for a little longer.
Tom, are you itching to jump in and get game chat going? All your friends, you can be playing Mario Kart. They can be doing other things.
Maybe. I think it's a fun idea. This is the thing. I feel like with a lot of these gimmicks, it is a fun idea. Maybe I'll play around with it for a couple minutes, but is it actually going to make a tangible impact on my life? I'm not sure until I actually get my hands on it, but it could be. It could be a bit of fun. The thing that I was kind of surprised by, I'm forgetting the term that they used for it now, but it's the feature where you're basically able to share games with other people. So there are certain games that you'll be able to get. It's very similar to digital DS download play on the Nintendo DS, where if someone owned a copy of Mario Kart, they could share it with other people and they could race, essentially. And basically a similar situation is going to happen here with some games. I don't know if Mario Kart's included in this for the Switch, but I think Clubhouse Games is one of the games that you can do this with now. You can share, if you have one copy of the game, you can share with other people and then just play locally. Or I think some of them are online as well, which I think is just a really cool feature. Certain games have kind of done this with recently with Split Fiction. If you own one copy of the game, you can get a friend to play it. So I think this is a really good idea, and like we were just saying, game prices are rising. I think this is a good thing if we have more of this to kind of alleviate that at least a little bit, so that if you want to, you only need to buy one copy of a game, and then you can still share the fun with other people.
I think that was the virtual game card that appeared in last week's Direct makes a lot more sense now, because it's hey, Tom, let's sit down, play Mario Kart. You don't have Mario Kart yet. I do. We can play a game. And you're I really like that. Can I give it a try deeper? Sure. Take my virtual game card. You can have it for 2 weeks, play around with it. It can come back to me. That makes total sense now. But whereas before it was kind of what are we doing? Is this a problem that need to be fixed? I agree with you. I think the game sharing is very cool. It does remind me a lot of that DS download play. I remember doing that with New Super Mario Bros. Back in the day, Mario Kart DS, sitting around in like the playground at school and in a big circle of people with only one copy of the game, just being able to play it, which was a lot of fun. And I think it isn't like it's not forgiving the sin of the $80 game, but it is like it's a point in its favor. It's like, okay, we're gonna charge you $80 for Mario Kart, but you can sit in a room and play with everyone. So I do like that. I am into that. Let's talk about the games, I think, a little bit deeper. So there was a lot announced. The kind of big one, they started things off. Mario Kart World is a new Mario Kart game. There's open world sections. You can race from race to race in a Grand Prix. They unveiled this new like almost battle royale mode where there's checkpoints throughout a series of races, and if you're in like the last 8 each time, you get kicked out and you're going until this last one standing. Sounds cool. That's coming out at launch. Donkey Kong Bonanza, new 3D Donkey Kong game, assumedly, we don't know, coming from the Super Mario Odyssey team. Apparently Koizumi, who directed Super Mario Odyssey, was hanging out over people's shoulders playing it and watching intently at the press preview event. So we don't know who made it, but I'd assume if that's the game, like, you wouldn't just be standing there doing that if that's not your game. That's coming out in July. Kirby Air Riders, Masahiro Sakurai's next game, very exciting, coming out later this year. Metroid Prime 4, got another look at that, kind of the first level in that. 2025 still, no specific date, which is interesting to me. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, we talked a little bit about that, tech demos and stuff coming out around. I think that's at launch. Dragon Drive, the arms of the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, showing off the mouse functionality, a wheelchair basketball game, kind of Rocket League-esque. Looked interesting. I need to know pricing for this one, and it didn't have the Nintendo charm that like even something like an ARMS did. It did look fairly generic. GameCube on NSO, it's happening. We're getting 3 games at launch: Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX, and other games. There was a whole list of games that they announced that will be coming to it in the future as well. And then they took a dive into some third-party games. Hitman is coming. We got another look at the iOS James Bond, which was just like, I cannot believe that showed.
I just saw that coming.
Who would have predicted? A new FromSoft game shows up that looked, I was like, this is Bloodborne 2. Bloodborne 2 is happening right now. It isn't. It's called the Duskbloods. It's turned out to be, it's a multiplayer game, but it is Miyazaki, I think is the big name at FromSoftware. It is his next game. So it is like the primetime team working on it, and it's exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. Cool. Like that's crazy. Elden Ring they showed off a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Go look at Hollow Knight. It's there. Hollow Knight's looks all coming in 2025. Showed up in a montage.
The only way to do it. The only way to do it.
And then we also got to look at some upgrades for Switch 1 games. They're going to be doing these kind of upgrade packs that include extra content in some cases, like Mario Party Jamboree, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. We don't know pricing on these. I've seen rumors around that it's about $10 for these upgrades, which I think is fair, especially if they come with extra content. And a lot of them are baked into your Nintendo Switch Online if you have the expansion pass subscription. So you just get them for free. Also, as a part of these, we got to look at the Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild running at 60 frames per second with slightly improved textures. I've seen through memes, there are people out there who have seen what this game could look like at 60 frames per second. You can go find those YouTube videos, and it looks fantastic. It looked great here as well. So another part of this upgrade for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is called Zelda Notes, an app you can download it includes GPS towards in-game collectibles and locations, which is such a Nintendo decision to me. So I want to know, you guys, games-wise, what stood out to you here? What was the thing that got you most excited? Maybe a couple things here. Lauren, you're not as amped about the console itself, but were there any games that you were looking like, okay, when I do eventually get a Switch 2, this is something I would like to give a try?
Not really.
Oh, man.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Unfortunately, no. I mean, it's nothing new to listeners of the podcast. I'm not a big Nintendo family person. I was hanging out for Animal Crossing. As soon as they announce new Animal Crossing, which I'm confident they will, I'll buy a Nintendo Switch 2 to play it. The only other thing that they could do here... Actually, I had one reaction, which was to Hades 2, which will be on Switch 2. If they had said it is a launch title on Switch 2, I would be buying it. But I don't think it will be. It's just nice to know that it will be going to the Switch 2 eventually. So that's probably one thing that, yeah, if when I get it, I'll be playing that. If this wasn't here, but if Pokemon Legends is a Switch 2 exclusive title, which I'm not sure if it will be. I don't know how long they're going to keep doing the dual releases between Switch and Switch 2.
I don't think it is. They showed it off, and I think they were talking about it in the upgrade section. So I think it is like a Switch 1 game that will just have upgraded textures. It'll look a bit better. It'll load faster.
Sure. It'll hopefully run. So that could be my problem in the end.
That's the thing.
Yeah, so yeah, there wasn't really anything here. I'm like, oh, I absolutely have to have that. The Duskbloods game looks cool, although I did not realize it was multiplayer, so now I'm a little less interested. So yeah, sorry to be the negative Nelly on the podcast.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Everyone's opinion is valid, and yeah, I think that I was waiting for whether they would do the Animal Crossing thing here or not. Animal Crossing is coming. I don't think I need any insider information to say like it was the best seller. Like it sold so incredibly well on the Switch 1. Animal Crossing is here to stay forever. I think it'll be a year 2 game. Get the people who are going to buy it at launch, us sickos, Tom, you and I, who are just like, we'll give you $700, we don't care. And then when that is like kind of trickled down a bit, the momentum has come up. Next summer, boom, new Animal Crossing. Here we go, get another wave going.
Yeah.
What was the highlight for you, Tom, game-wise? Was there something here, or are you like Lauren going, I don't know?
No, I think game-wise, I think they pretty much had like almost every kind of corner covered for me. I think the big thing was Donkey Kong Bonanza. Even though I had, like I said, coming off of it, I was a bit like, oh, but I wish it was a Mario game, like just a little bit. But having seen some of the previews, this game looks amazing. Like some of the whole gimmick of the game, you don't know if you haven't seen the trailer or any of the previews, is that you can basically dig into anything. You can basically, it's like, I guess it's like Donkey Kong crosses with Minecraft. It's this big sandbox.
I've seen some people describing it as, do you remember the Red Faction games from like PS2 era that you had destructible environments? There was a game called Red Faction Guerrilla, and that's what people are calling this. It's Red Faction Guerrilla.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just like the freedom and exploration that like Odyssey gave you compared to like the previous 3D Mario games was really welcome, and I feel like they couldn't do it. They couldn't do the same thing justice without transitioning to Donkey Kong, because then you can it's a completely destructible environment. You can dig down, find bananas, which is the whole thing, instead of moons in this game, and like there's so much more like opportunity for exploration. Like some of the combat with Donkey Kong looks like hilarious. Like you can basically there's one enemy that apparently that you can like jump on its head and like pluck its skeleton out of its body and then chuck it at another guy. Like there seems to be so much like creativity on display, and there's only like a little bit that we've even seen of the game. So I'm excited. The fact that like it just seems like it's building off of Odyssey. I said on the stream, like, Astrobot, it better watch out, because I think Nintendo like has been working on this game, and I think it's going to be cool. But did you feel the similar, Klein, about Donkey Kong?
When I first saw it, I was like, man, I wish this was 3D Mario. But I'm with you, Tom. I watched the Nintendo Treehouse streams they were doing. I've listened to people's impressions of the game, and it's like, oh, this is Odyssey. There is a clear destination in the level. You're just trying to get to that, but along the way there are dozens of these bananas hidden everywhere, whether it's in the ground where you just have to dig down and find them, you completing little challenges, and you are meant to spend hours in these levels collecting these bananas, and like that sounds like that's the Odyssey formula. So I'm interested to see if it clicks with me as well as Odyssey did. I am kind of bummed that if this is the 3D Mario team, like, does that mean we are 5 years away from another 3D Mario game? I've seen some people suggesting. Insider Jeff Grubb over at Giant Bomb was talking about how this was rumored years ago, this project, when the Switch Pro rumors were going around. And the Switch Pro was reportedly canceled inside Nintendo. Everything moved over to Switch 2. So there is a very real possibility that this game has been done for years, which could mean we could get a 3D Mario sooner than that. Because the last thing this team did was the end of 2017 with Odyssey. So it's been 8 years. And they can turn things around pretty quickly there. So I hope we get 3D Mario. I'm excited to see this. I like the new Donkey Kong design. I'm into it. I like that he can pick up pieces of the ground and use it as weapons. Like he just like picks up the floor and starts hitting people with it. And then my last thing about Donkey Kong is I like when he gets the banana, and every time he goes, "Ooh, banana," and it's just like Mario has the little like fanfare he does when he gets the star, and I like that has Donkey Kong's.
Yeah, I'm really glad they brought that back. It's so goofy, but it's so fun. Yeah, the other big game that really surprised me, and I didn't think we were going to get, like I mentioned, was like Age of Imprisonment. I think it's called Legend of Zelda: Age of Imprisonment, which is I guess a sequel prequel game. It's basically telling the story of Tears of the Kingdom from Zelda's perspective, but in like a Hyrule Warriors format. And my biggest problem with Age of Calamity was that it ran like dog water. It was so like the frames always dropped. It was barely running on Switch. So the fact that they are releasing on a much more powerful system with the sequel, I'm a lot more interested in this and like hopeful that it'll be good. Especially because like we got Echoes of Wisdom last year, and now we're getting, you play as many different characters, but it's from Zelda's perspective, so it's another kind of Zelda-led game. So I'm hoping that this is it's paving the way for a 3D Zelda game where Zelda is the protagonist. So yeah, I'm excited for that one. Was there anything else for you, Klein, that kind of piqued your interest from this?
I already shouted out the GameCube on NSO. I can't believe it's happening. I was very excited to play Wind Waker. Like, I honestly think the first thing I'll play on the Switch 2 was Wind Waker.
Yeah.
which is crazy. Honestly, the thing that I've been most impressed by, when they said they were going to do it, like, when there was rumors of open world Mario Kart, I'm like, I don't know what that means. But the more I see of this game, the more I'm like, this is the most Mario Kart I've ever seen. Like, just like the worlds, the way that they're connected, I didn't know how they were going to evolve on Mario Kart 8, and for me the logical thing was going to be, make it Smash. Like, bring in Zelda, bring in F-Zero, bring in all these Nintendo characters. And I think they've almost gone the other way, where it's like, no, we're leaning in on the Mario so hard that you remember the cows from Moo Moo Meadows and Mario Kart 64? They're playable now.
We have cow.
Everyone is playable from every Mario Kart or Mario game ever. You could play as a dolphin from Super Mario World, and he just floats above the cart. It's so silly, but that the characters and the level there to Mario, and then the world that they're actually doing this in, where you go from race to race and it's all one circuit, is I think so cool. And I'm so excited to play this game. I think that we forget how exciting a new Mario Kart game is because it's been almost a decade since the last one, and Mario Kart 8 has just been a constant. It's been something that I've turned on probably at least once a month since it came out. And so I'm excited to have more Mario Kart, even if it is $80. I'm going to buy the bundle, or try to buy the bundle if I can get one. But yeah, I think that's the big one for me. I can't believe we're making another Kirby Air Ride as well. When that trailer started, I thought it was Smash. It looked like I instantly knew it was Sakurai. Just the way he edits his trailers is so unique. But I loved Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube. I never owned it, but that was a rental classic. I used to rent that, sleep over the weekend, friends and I playing Kirby Air Ride. I'm excited we're getting more, but I think that this is a good foundation, and I'm interested to see what the next wave is. I'm sure we have another direct probably around Summer Game Fest time, so maybe we'll get more stuff there. That's when Lauren's gonna get Animal Crossing for the first time, and we'll all be happy. And she'll be, I should have pre-ordered a Switch 2. But yeah, that's the Switch 2. I don't know, do you guys have any big final takeaways, any other highlights you want to shout out? I was going to ask, did this convince you to buy one? I think we've already kind of answered the question.
Yeah,
but
pretty much.
was there anything else that, like, highlight wise or low light, that you wanted to kind of bring light to here?
The thing, like I kind of mentioned, I think if I had to grade the Direct, maybe we can also grade the Direct if we wanted to. If I had to give it a grade, it would probably be like an A- overall. And I think the thing that really would have pushed it over the edge for me is one, a bit more transparency of the price in the Direct. I know that it would have been a bit awkward, but I think like having it not in the Direct and then this kind of weird rollout where it's like, oh, but like obviously now it's gone back, so maybe it was the right decision to do that. But the other thing was that I think, you know, we have Pokemon, but Pokemon is its own entity. I would have really loved like a solid RPG reveal, specifically like a Fire Emblem or something like that. I think that's one of the like few corners that they didn't kind of cover in this. I guess you have like Elden Ring is coming, and then the Dustbloods is also coming, and that's kind of RPG-esque, but that's its own, you know, Soul's its own thing. But a new Fire Emblem, I think, would have like, it would just been the icing on the cake, you know. But yeah, just on the quickly on Kirby as well. I'm really excited for it, but I do wonder, like, and I'm glad Sakurai's working on something not Smash Brothers, but like, he's probably not going to get a Smash Brothers for a while now, which is fine. But
I have a theory.
Yeah.
I have a theory about Smash. Maybe I'll hold that
Okay.
for a later episode. But I have a theory that there's a reason that I think we may be getting Smash. Sakurai just might not be involved. Lauren, anything else you want to shout out?
I mean, I think I've said it all, but yeah, the more I reflect on it, I think, for me personally, and maybe there are other people out there like this too, I come to Nintendo for like specific reasons, and it's actually like primarily driven by like content, not necessarily the console itself. Like, I love my Switch. I love that it's portable and handheld. Haven't had that since my Game Boy, really, so I appreciate that. But yeah, I think looking at this and being like, wow, everyone's so excited, but I'm just like not that person. I need it to be like, here is my Animal Crossing, which is what made me buy the Switch in the first place. Here is my Pokemon. Here are the necessary conditions for me to buy. And they weren't there. So I do believe they will be there eventually. But I just found it interesting, like reflecting on, I guess, myself as a gamer, that I'm like, oh, I'm like not one of those people who needs to instantly buy it, where I so usually am with PlayStation. So it's just interesting, like coming out of that Direct and thinking about that and being like, why don't I want to buy this immediately? And yeah, it's just different audiences, but they played to the audience. They made their choices. They played to an audience. A lot of people are going to want to buy this. But I think there's also a lot of people who are like, nah, man, I'm going to wait, or I won't do it at all, or I'll keep my original Switch.
Yeah, I think that coming out of this, I'm almost more confident that I will be able to secure a pre-order, but I don't know if that may be false confidence. I think that, Lauren, there are a lot of people like you who are after seeing the price, are going, maybe I don't need one. But I think these will sell out. If you're on top of things, you'll probably be able to find one, but it's just a matter of like, gotta have those Wario 64 notifications on Blue Sky. And I'm in a Discord that I've went back into after haven't been in since I tried to get a PS5 years ago, and all it is up stock updates on things. So we'll see. Hopefully later this week.
Can I ask, like, just from, this is probably like a boring thing to ask about, but anyway, for Klein, because a lot of things like living in Canada, you get taxed on top of price, does this mean you're probably playing closer to like $700
Yes.
for a Switch?
It's $699.99 for the bundle, and then there's tax on top of that.
So you're probably playing closer to $800.
Yeah, it'll probably be close to like $770 when it's all done.
That is
My
crazy
PS5
to
was
me.
was $750 with tax, I think, around there. It's a lot.
yeah, because I paid $429.99 for the Mario Kart bundle, like pounds, and that includes all the tax and stuff. I don't know how much that is in relation to.
Well, I think the
Canadian
pounds
dollars.
is definitely the most expensive when you do the conversion, because you're basically double our values.
Yeah, so
So
we're
it's
getting
like close to
screwed.
90.
Basically, yeah, it's $788 Canadian dollars basically. So
Yeah.
you know, we're getting.
Hey, if you all want to learn Japanese, there are Japanese
That's true.
like region lock switches you can buy from Japan that only have Japanese on them, and they're like the equivalent of 300 American US dollars.
Yeah, so you could do that, you know.
I'm
But,
learning.
like,
I'm on day 560 of my Duolingo journey, so you know, this could
I
be
mean,
the
like-
thing to push me over the edge.
who needs the English text? Like, if you're playing Donkey Kong, you're just making grunts
Yeah, you
and
just
stuff
go,
anyway.
banana.
like-
I'm sure he says that in Japanese as
Whatever.
well.
exactly. Who cares?